Listen closely, my children, for this is a story that might save your heart from breaking. Many years ago, in the bustling village of Umuese, there lived a young woman named Adaeze. She was the kind of woman every mother prayed for. Beautiful, hardworking, and respectful. Her smile could light up the darkest room, and her laughter was like music to everyone who heard it. Adaeze sold the finest yams in the village market, and her business was growing well. She had dreams of expanding her trade and perhaps opening a shop in the city one day. Life was good, and she was content. Then, one sunny morning, everything changed. She met Chijioke at the village square during the harvest festival. He was tall, handsome, with eyes that sparkled like stars. He approached her with confidence and bought 3 baskets of yams without even asking the price. They talked for hours that day, laughing like old friends. Chijioke was charming, respectful, and seemed perfect in every way. He spoke of his love for family and his dreams of building a good life. Adaeze's heart melted like palm oil in the sun. But as her mother watched from a distance, she whispered a warning that would echo through time. Beware the man whose heart belongs more to others than to you. Chijioke began visiting Adaeze regularly after that day. He brought her gifts, fresh fish, beautiful wrappers, and sweet words that made her blush. The whole village began to whisper about their romance, and Adaeze felt like she was walking on clouds. One evening, as they sat under the ancient iroko tree, Chijioke held her hand gently. Adaeze, you are the woman I have been searching for. With you, I see a future filled with happiness and peace. Adaeze's heart danced with joy. Everything seemed perfect until one afternoon when something strange happened. They were planning to attend a friend's wedding when Chijioke's younger brother arrived looking troubled. "Brother, I need money urgently," the boy said, barely acknowledging Adaeze's presence. "My school fees are due tomorrow, and father says you must help." Chijioke's face changed immediately. Without hesitation, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a big bundle of money, the same money he had saved for new farming tools. "Take it all," Chijioke said, smiling nervously. Adaeze watched in confusion. "But Chijioke, what about your tools? You said you needed them urgently for the planting season." Chijioke waved his hand dismissively. "Family comes first, my dear. I will manage somehow." As his brother left without even saying thank you, Adaeze felt a small knot form in her stomach. Weeks passed, and Adaeze tried to dismiss her concerns. She told herself that Chijioke was simply a generous man with a good heart. But then she met his family properly, and everything became clearer and more complicated. Chijioke's sister, Nkechi, was a sharp-tongued woman with eyes that seemed to calculate everything. The moment Adaeze entered their family compound, Nkechi looked her up and down as if inspecting spoiled meat at the market. "So this is the famous Adaeze. My brother has told us so much about you. I hope you are not one of those village girls who only love a man for his money." Adaeze's mouth dropped open in shock. Before she could respond, Chijioke laughed nervously. "Nkechi, don't mind my sister. She is just protective of me." But Nkechi was not finished. Throughout the visit, she made small comments that stung like bee stings. "Chijioke is the pillar of this family. We all depend on him. I hope whoever marries him understands that family responsibility never ends." Later, as they walked home, Adaeze tried to discuss what happened. "Your sister seems to think I have bad intentions." Chijioke squeezed her hand. "Don't worry about Nkechi. She is just cautious. Once you two spend more time together, she will love you like a sister. But the seed of doubt had been planted in Adaeze's heart. The first real disaster happened 3 months later, during the village's biggest market day. Adaeze had invested all her savings into buying extra yams for the season. It was a risky move, but she believed it would double her profits. That morning, Chijioke arrived at her stall looking distressed and sweating despite the cool weather. "Adaeze, I need to speak with you urgently." They stepped aside, and Chijioke explained that his uncle's house had caught fire the previous night. The family needed money immediately to start rebuilding, and everyone was looking to Chijioke for help. "I have given them everything I have," Chijioke said, his voice shaking, "but it is not enough. Can you help us? I promise to repay you within a month." Adaeze's mind raced. That money was her entire business capital. But when she looked into Chijioke's desperate eyes and thought about a family suffering, her compassionate heart won. She gave him the money. 2 months passed, and Chijioke had not mentioned repayment. When Adaeze finally gathered courage to ask, he looked hurt. "My love, you are thinking about money when my family is suffering. I thought you understood what family means." Adaeze stood alone in the marketplace that day as rain began to fall. Villagers whispered and pointed as she stood there, realizing she had made a terrible mistake. Unable to sleep one night, Adaeze decided to visit her friend Obiageli, who had married into Chijioke's extended family years ago. Perhaps Obiageli could help her understand what was happening. What she discovered chilled her to the bone. Obiageli welcomed her with sad eyes and warm tea. "Adaeze, I have been waiting for you to come. Sit down, my sister. There are things you need to know." In the flickering candlelight, Obiageli told her a story that made Adaeze's blood run cold. Chijioke's family has a pattern. They find kind-hearted, successful women for their sons and brothers. Then slowly they drain them of everything: money, dignity, peace. Obiageli opened an old wooden box and pulled out a yellowed letter. This was written by Chijioke's former fiancé, Amara. She loved him deeply, but his family destroyed her. Read it yourself. Adaeze's hands trembled as she read Amara's words, describing the exact same manipulations, the same guilt trips, the same slow destruction of her dreams and finances. The letter ended with a heartbreaking line. "I loved him, but his family killed that love slowly until nothing remained but ashes." "Where is Amara now?" Adaeze whispered. "She left the village 5 years ago. No one knows where she went. They broke her completely." As Adaeze walked home that night, tears rolled down her cheeks, catching the moonlight like diamonds of sorrow. The next morning, Adaeze confided everything to her best friend Ezine. They sat by the stream where they had played as children, and Adaeze poured out her heart. Ezine listened carefully, her face growing more serious with each word. "Adaeze, you must be very careful. This family sounds dangerous, not with knives or poison, but with something worse. They destroy spirits." "But I love him, Ezine. Chijioke is not like them. He is just too kind, too unable to refuse his family." Ezine grabbed Adaeze's hands firmly. "Listen to me carefully, my sister. A man who cannot say no to his family will always come second, third, fourth, maybe never first at all." They talked for hours, and Ezine promised to help Adaeze investigate further. "I will visit some people who knew this Amara woman. We need to know the full truth." 3 days later, Ezine disappeared. Her mother came crying to Adaeze's house. "Have you seen my daughter?" She left yesterday morning, saying she was going to gather information about something important, and she has not returned.
Adaeze's heart stopped. She stood in her compound at dusk, calling Izani's name into the empty air as fear gripped her throat like cold fingers. The shadow seemed longer that evening, and somewhere in the distance, a crow cawed ominously. Adaeze could not wait any longer. Fear and anger mixed in her chest like fire and water. She marched straight to Chijioke's house, her wrapper flying behind her like a warrior's flag. She found him sitting outside, carving wood peacefully. "Chijioke, we need to talk, now." He looked up, surprised by her tone. "Adaeze, what is wrong? You look troubled." "Your family is what is wrong." The words burst out of her like a dam breaking. "I have learned things, Chijioke. Terrible things about how your family treats the women who love you. What happened to Amara? Why did she run away?" Chijioke's face went pale. He stood up quickly, looking around nervously as if afraid someone might hear. "Adaeze, please lower your voice. That situation with Amara was complicated. She did not understand family values." "Family values?" Adaeze's voice shook. "Or family manipulation? I gave you my business money, Chijioke. You promised to repay me, but instead you made me feel guilty for asking. Is this how you treat someone you claim to love?" For a moment, something flickered in Chijioke's eyes. Recognition, guilt, maybe even agreement. He opened his mouth to speak. But then thunder cracked across the sky, and Adaeze saw a shadow in the doorway. Chijioke's mother stood there, her face as hard as stone, listening to every word. That evening, Chijioke's entire family gathered in their compound. Adaeze was not invited, but she heard about it from a neighbor who sold vegetables near their house. The family meeting was about her. Chijioke's mother, Maman Kechi, sat in the center like a queen surrounded by her subjects. Her voice was sharp and clear as she addressed her son. "So, this Adaeze girl thinks she can come into our family and start making demands. She wants to separate you from your own blood?" Chijioke's uncle, a round man with a beard like tangled rope, nodded vigorously. "We have invested in you. We sent you to school. We fed you. We made you who you are today. And now this stranger wants you to abandon us." And Kechi added her voice, sweet as poisoned honey. "Brother, you must choose. Family is forever, but girlfriends come and go. Do you really want to disappoint Mama after all she has sacrificed for you?" The neighbor told Adaeze that Chijioke sat silently through most of the meeting. His head bowed. Finally, Maman Kechi delivered her ultimatum. "Bring us that girl's remaining money to help complete the house repairs, or tell her to leave your life completely. We will not have a woman who puts money before family." When Chijioke finally spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. "Let me think about it." His uncle's smile was like a snake's. "Good boy. We knew you would make the right choice." Adaeze heard this news and felt her world tilting like a canoe in a storm. Adaeze believed Chijioke would stand up for her. She waited 3 days for him to come and tell her he had chosen their love over his family's greed. But Chijioke did not come. Instead, she discovered the truth by accident. She was walking past the palm wine shed when she heard familiar voices. Hiding behind the wooden wall, she listened to Chijioke talking with his brother. "Did you give Mama the money?" his brother asked. "Yes," Chijioke replied, his voice tired. "I sold my farmland, the one I was planning to build our house on. I gave Mama everything." "And what about Adaeze? Did you tell her?"
There was a long silence before Chijioke spoke again. She does not need to know. It would only upset her. Besides, family comes first, Adaeze. She will understand eventually. Adaeze's legs almost gave way beneath her. The farmland he sold was the same one he had shown her, the place where he promised they would build their future home together. He had sold their dream to please his family, and he had not even told her. She stood there behind that shed, tears catching the firelight from nearby cooking fires, her heart breaking into pieces so small she wondered if they could ever be put back together. When she finally walked home that night, she walked like someone in a trance, seeing nothing, feeling everything. The next morning, Adaeze woke up determined to give up. Perhaps everyone was right. Perhaps she was the problem, expecting too much, being too selfish. Maybe love meant suffering in silence. But as she walked through the village towards the stream to fetch water, an old woman stepped out from underneath the ancient baobab tree. Mama Ugu was the village elder, a woman so old that some people whispered she had lived through 3 generations. Her eyes were cloudy with age, but they seemed to see everything, past, present, and future. Adaeze, daughter of Okafo, Mama Ugu called out in a voice surprisingly strong. Come here, child. Adaeze approached hesitantly. She had never spoken to Mama Ugu before, although everyone respected the elder deeply. I have been watching you, Mama Ugu said, leaning on her carved walking stick. I see a young woman being slowly destroyed, and I cannot remain silent. Mama, I do not understand.
The old woman's eyes suddenly cleared, sharp as an eagle's. The heart that cannot say no will destroy more than wealth, child. It will destroy love itself. It will destroy the very person it claims to cherish. Adaeze felt tears forming. But what can I do? I love him. Love is not enough when wisdom is absent. Come to my house tomorrow at dawn. I will show you something that might save your life. As Mama Ugo disappeared into the morning mist like a spirit, Adaeze wondered if she had just imagined the entire encounter. At dawn, Adaeze found herself standing outside Mama Ugo's compound, her heart beating fast. The elder welcomed her into a small hut filled with herbs, clay pots, and the smell of ancient wisdom. Sit, child, Mama Ugo commanded gently. I'm going to teach you something important. You cannot fight manipulation with emotion alone. You need strategy. For the next 2 hours, Mama Ugo explained the psychology behind family manipulation. They target your compassion, your fear of being seen as selfish, your love for Chijioke. These are weapons they use against you. But how do I fight back without seeming cruel? By exposing the truth, Mama Ugo said, her eyes twinkling mysteriously. Truth is the greatest weapon against lies, but you need patience and allies. The elder revealed that she knew someone, a distant relative of Chijioke's family, who had grown tired of their schemes. This person can help you, but you must be brave enough to trust them. Who is it, Mama? You will know when the time is right. For now, start documenting everything, every request for money, every manipulation, every broken promise. Write it all down. As Adaeze left the compound, she felt something she had not felt in months, hope mixed with determination. The sun seemed brighter that morning, and for the first time, she felt like she was not drowning alone. That evening, under moonlight, Adaeze met with the mysterious figure near the old mission school. The person's face was covered, but their voice was familiar. Someone from Chijioke's own family, tired of the destruction they caused. With her new allies' help, Adaeze began implementing Mama Ugo's strategy. The family's next scheme was predictable. Nkechi had announced her intention to start a business and needed family support,
which meant Chijioke would be pressured to provide all the capital. But this time, Adaeze was ready. She approached Chijioke before her family could corner him. "I heard about Nkechi's business plan. It sounds wonderful. I would love to see the actual business proposal and budget breakdown." Chijioke looked confused. "Business proposal? I don't think she has written anything formal. It's just family helping family." "Exactly," Adaeze smiled sweetly. "And because you are such a generous brother, I'm sure you want her business to succeed. So let us help her create a proper plan. I can even contribute my expertise since I run my own business." Chijioke seemed relieved by her supportive attitude. But when Adaeze actually sat down with Nkechi and started asking detailed questions about the business, target market, competition, projected revenue, Nkechi became flustered and defensive. "Why are you asking so many questions?" Nkechi snapped. "This is family business, not an interrogation." "I'm just trying to help ensure success," Adaeze replied calmly. Within days, Nkechi quietly dropped the whole business idea. The truth was, there was no real plan, just another excuse to extract money from Chijioke. Small victory, Adaeze thought, but she knew the family would retaliate, and they did. The very next week, doors began slamming in Chijioke's house whenever Adaeze visited, and the family's fury simmered like a pot about to boil over. The retaliation came swiftly and publicly. During the village's monthly community meeting, Nkechi stood up to address everyone gathered under the ancient Udala tree. "I must speak about a matter troubling my family. There is a young woman in this village who pretends to love my brother, but her real intention is to isolate him from his family and control his money." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Adaeze, sitting near the back, felt her stomach drop. "This woman," Nkechi continued, "questions every act of generosity, turns family love into suspicion, and tries to poison my brother's mind against his own blood." Before Nkechi could continue, Adaeze stood up. Her legs were shaking, but her voice was surprisingly steady. "If we are speaking about money and family, perhaps we should discuss the farmland Chijioke sold 3 months ago, the one he sold to give money to his family, money he never got back. The same farmland where he promised to build our future home." The crowd went silent. Even the birds seemed to stop singing. "Or should we discuss the business capital I gave Chijioke to help with his uncle's house repairs? Money I never received back. Money I never even received a thank you for." Nkechi's face turned red, but before she could respond, several older women in the village began murmuring amongst themselves. They remembered similar stories from years ago. As rain began to fall softly, Adaeze stood tall in the village square, finally speaking her truth. The family had vowed revenge in their hearts, but something had shifted. The village was listening now. That night, Chijioke came to Adaeze's house. She had never seen him look so tormented. His eyes were red and his hands trembled as he held a crumpled piece of paper. "I found your letter," he whispered, "the one you left in my house yesterday." Adaeze had written everything in that letter: her pain, her confusion, her love, and her fear. She had poured her soul onto that paper, not knowing if he would ever read it or understand.
"Adaeze," Chijioke's voice cracked. "I have been blind. I have been a coward. I see it now. I have hurt you while trying to please everyone else." He fell to his knees, the strong man she loved, now broken by the weight of truth. "My family has always been demanding. Even as a child, I learned that saying no meant being called selfish, ungrateful, wicked. So I learned never to say no, even when I should." Tears streamed down his face. "But I never realized that by saying yes to everyone, I was saying no to you, to us, to our future." Adaeze wanted to comfort him, but she held back. "Words are easy, Chijioke. What will you do? Will you finally stand up to them?" Chijioke looked up at her, his face a mixture of determination and fear. "I do not know if I am strong enough, but I want to try. Will you help me?" For the first time in months, Adaeze saw a glimpse of the man she had fallen in love with, not the puppet controlled by family strings, but a real person struggling to break free. The family's next attack was ruthless and calculated. They struck at the heart of Adaeze's livelihood, her yam business. Adaeze arrived at the market one morning to find her storage shed broken into. All her premium yams had been ruined, deliberately cut and left to rot. The smell was overwhelming, and the financial loss was devastating. Worse still, someone had spread rumors among her suppliers that she was unreliable and dishonest. 3 major suppliers refused to sell to her anymore. Mama Ugo appeared beside her as Adaeze stood among the ruins of her business, smoke still rising from where someone had attempted to burn the shed completely. "This is the family's warning," Mama Ugo said quietly. "They want you to know they can destroy everything you have built." Adaeze felt rage and fear mixing in her chest. How can people be so cruel? What have I done except love their son? "You expose them," Mama Ugo replied, "and exposure is what they fear most. But child, this is also your moment of choice. You can either run away like Amara did, or you can stand and fight with wisdom." Adaeze looked at the destruction around her, at the curious villagers gathering to watch, at her dreams turning to ash and rot. Every part of her wanted to run, to give up, to escape this nightmare. But then she remembered Adaeze, still missing. She remembered Amara's letter. She thought about the next woman Chijioke might love, and the one after that. "I will not run," Adaeze said firmly, "but I need help." Mama Ugo smiled knowingly. "Then come with me. It is time for the mystical intervention I promised." In Mama Ugo's hut, surrounded by candles and sacred items, the elder performed a ritual that made Adaeze's skin tingle. She gave Adaeze a small leather pouch containing herbs and a strange, smooth stone that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. "This is not magic as foolish people understand it. This is truth made visible. Wear this around your neck and it will help reveal the true nature of those around you. But be warned, you may see things that will hurt." "How does it work?" Adaeze asked, holding the warm stone. "It works through courage. When you confront lies with this stone near your heart, the liars will reveal themselves to their own words and actions. It does not change people. It simply makes their true selves impossible to hide." That night, Adaeze wore the charm to bed. She had strange, vivid dreams of shadows trying to cover light, of voices whispering secrets, of chains breaking. The next morning, something extraordinary happened. Chijioke's younger cousin, who had always been quiet and submissive, suddenly appeared at Adaeze's house with a confession. "I cannot stay silent anymore," the young man said, his voice shaking. "They paid someone to destroy your business. They planned everything. I heard them laughing about it. I am tired of being part of this family's wickedness." As he spoke, Adaeze touched the stone around her neck. It felt warm, almost alive. The mysterious charm was beginning to work, pulling hidden truth into the light like a fisherman's net, pulling up what lurked in dark waters. Shadowy figures seemed to retreat from the morning sun as truth advanced like dawn. Armed with this new information and renewed determination, Chijioke finally confronted his mother. Adaeze watched from a distance as he stood in the family compound, his body tense with years of suppressed frustration. "Mama, I know what you did to Adaeze's business. I know you paid thugs to destroy her shed. I know you spread lies to her suppliers." Mama Nkechi's face remained calm, but her eyes flashed dangerously. "Who has been filling your head with these lies? That manipulative girl." "It is not lies, Mama. Your own nephew told me everything. He is tired of this family's wickedness, and so am I." For a moment, something flickered across her mother's face. Surprise, maybe even respect for her son finally standing up to her.
but she quickly masked it with hurt innocence. Chijioke, my son, how can you believe outsiders over your own mother? She placed her hand over her heart dramatically. After everything I have sacrificed for you, I carried you for 9 months. I suffered to send you to school, and this is how you repay me? By accusing me of wickedness because of a woman? Chizioke's resolution wavered. Adaeze could see it happening, the old patterns reasserting themselves, guilt wrapping around him like familiar chains. But then Chizioke looked toward where Adaeze stood, touched his own chest where his heart beat, and turned back to his mother. I love you, Mama, but I cannot let you destroy the woman I want to marry. Not anymore. Mama Nkechi's face transformed into something cold and calculating. The mask had finally slipped.
The family's counterattack was swift and vicious. Within days, new rumors spread through the village like wildfire. Adaeze was called a witch who had used charms to steal Chijioke's mind. People whispered that she had visited a native doctor to bind him with love spells. The rumors were so detailed and widespread that even some of Adaeze's regular customers began avoiding her at the market. Old women who used to greet her warmly now crossed to the other side of the road when they saw her coming. One afternoon, as Adaeze sat alone at her market stall with no customers, she overheard two women talking nearby. I heard she even killed her friend Azine because the girl discovered her secret, one woman whispered. They say that is why Azine disappeared so mysteriously, the other replied. Nobody just vanishes like that unless something spiritual is involved. Adaeze felt like she was drowning in an ocean of lies. She wanted to scream, to fight back, to make everyone see the truth. But she remembered Mama Ugo's advice. Patience. Truth always rises like oil and water. You cannot force it. You must let it emerge naturally. That evening, Adaeze sat alone in her house, listening to the whispers echoing in her mind like shadows. The stone around her neck felt heavy, as if absorbing all the lies being spoken about her. She touched it gently and whispered, "Please let the truth come soon. I do not know how much more I can bear." As if in answer, there came a knock at her door. The person at the door was unexpected. Chijioke's own aunt, his father's sister, a woman Adaeze had met only once before at a family gathering. "May I come in?" the woman asked quietly, looking around nervously as if afraid of being seen. Inside, the aunt revealed herself as Adaeze's secret ally, the one Mama Ugo had mentioned. "I have been watching this family destroy people for too long. They did it to my own daughter, and I could not stop them then, but I can stop them now." She pulled out a small bag containing documents, photos, and letters. "This is proof of everything. The money they extracted from Amara before she fled, the business they ruined that belonged to my daughter, bank records showing where Chijioke's money really went, not to house repairs, but to fund Nkechi's gambling debts and their mother's expensive lifestyle." Adaeze's hands trembled as she looked through the evidence. "Why are you helping me now?" "Because I see my daughter in you," the aunt said, tears in her eyes. "She was strong like you, brave like you, but they broke her spirit completely. She lives in another village now, afraid of her own shadow. I cannot let that happen to another woman." As the aunt spoke, the stone around Adaeze's neck grew warm, confirming the truth of every word. "Tomorrow," the aunt said, standing to leave, "Mama Nkechi is planning to publicly denounce you at the village meeting, but now you have the weapons to fight back. Use them wisely." That night, Adaeze barely slept. She was preparing for the battle of her life, a battle not with fists, but with truth. The next morning arrived heavy with tension. The village meeting was scheduled for midday, and everyone knew drama was coming. Chijioke appeared at Adaeze's house before dawn, looking like he had not slept either. "I have made my decision," he said quietly. "I am leaving my family's house today. I cannot live with them anymore knowing what they have done to you, to Amara, to others." Adaeze studied his face carefully. "Where will you go?" "I do not know yet.
Maybe I will stay with a friend or rent a small room, but I cannot choose them over you anymore, Adaeze. I cannot keep being their puppet while they destroy everyone I love." For the first time, Adaeze saw real determination in his eyes, not just temporary resolve that would crumble under family pressure. The change seemed genuine, rooted in true awakening rather than guilt. "Then come with me to the meeting today," Adaeze said. "Stand beside me when I face them. That is the real test." Chijioke nodded slowly. "I will be there." As moonlight faded into morning light, Chijioke walked determinedly down the path away from his family home, his cloak fluttering behind him like a flag of independence. Villagers who saw him wondered where he was going carrying a bag of belongings. The news spread quickly. Chijioke had left his family. The impossible had happened, and the whole village knew that the meeting that afternoon would be legendary, the kind of confrontation people would talk about for generations. The village square was packed with people when Adaeze arrived. Everyone had come to witness what promised to be the most dramatic meeting in years. Mama Nkechi sat confidently in the center, surrounded by her children and supporters, looking like a queen ready to deliver judgment. When Adaeze entered with Chijioke by her side, gasps rippled through the crowd. Mama Nkechi's confident expression faltered for just a moment before hardening into stone. The village headman, a wise old man named Mazi Okoye, called the meeting to order. "We are here to address serious accusations that have divided this community. Mama Nkechi has requested to speak first." Mama Nkechi stood gracefully, playing the role of wounded mother perfectly. "My people, I stand before you with a broken heart. This girl, Adaeze, has used manipulation and possibly dark forces to turn my son against his own family. She has accused us of terrible things, destroyed our family's peace, and now she has taken my son away from his home." The crowd murmured. Some nodded sympathetically. "I only ask," Mama Nkechi continued, her voice breaking dramatically, "what kind of woman comes between a man and his family? What kind of love destroys rather than builds?" It was a powerful performance. Even Adaeze felt doubtful for a moment, wondering if anyone would believe her truth against such convincing lies. But then Chijioke stood up, and his voice rang clear across the square. "Mama, I love you, but I cannot let you lie anymore. Not to these people, not to yourself, and not to me." Firelight flickered on the confrontation scene as the sun began to set, and villagers leaned forward, afraid to miss a single word. Before Mama Nkechi could respond, Chijioke continued speaking, his voice growing stronger with each word. "For years, I believed that being a good son meant never saying no to family. I gave money I did not have, sacrificed dreams I should have protected, and hurt people I loved, all because I was afraid of being called selfish." He turned to face the crowd directly. "But I have learned something painful. My family has not just manipulated me, they have destroyed other women before Adaeze. They extracted money from my former fiancée, Amara, until she had nothing left and fled the village. Many of you remember her. Many of you wondered why she left so suddenly." An elderly woman in the crowd spoke up suddenly. "It is true. I remember Amara. That poor girl looked like a ghost before she disappeared." Mama Nkechi tried to interrupt, but Mazi Okoye raised his hand for silence. "Let him finish." Chijioke took a deep breath and revealed the truth that shocked everyone. "My family did not need money for house repairs. Those funds went to pay Nkechi's gambling debts and to maintain an expensive lifestyle. The farmland I sold was supposed to be my inheritance from my father, but my mother pressured me to sell it and give her the money." Nkechi jumped up angrily. "That is a lie. How dare you?" "It is not a lie," a quiet voice interrupted. Chijioke's aunt stepped forward from the crowd, holding up documents. I have the bank statements, the letters, the evidence of everything." The crowd erupted in shocked whispers. Adaeze watched as the truth she had fought so hard to reveal finally came into the light, undeniable and clear. But the biggest shock was yet to come. Mama Ugo stepped forward from the crowd. Her presence commanded immediate silence. In her hands, she carried something wrapped in ancient cloth that seemed to glow faintly in the fading evening light. "I have lived long enough to see patrons repeat themselves," the elder said, her voice carrying supernatural authority. "This family's manipulation has hurt too many people. Today, with the power granted to me by our ancestors and the spirits of truth, I will reveal everything." She unwrapped the cloth to reveal a large, flat stone carved with symbols. "This is the stone of revelation, passed down through generations of elders. When placed before those who lie, it reveals the truth of their deeds." Some villagers looked skeptical, but most watched in awe as Mama Ugo placed the stone on the ground and began to chant in the old language. The air seemed to shimmer, and suddenly images began to appear on the stone's surface, like watching memories play out in water. The crowd saw everything. Mama Nkechi counting money extracted from Amara while laughing with Nkechi. They saw the family planning to sabotage Adaese's business. They saw Chijioke's father's will, which clearly stated the farmland should never be sold, but passed to Chijioke's children. The mystical proof was undeniable, shown in light that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Even the skeptics could not deny what they witnessed. The stone revealed hidden deeds, etched in memory and truth, exposing every manipulation, every lie, every calculation. Mama Nkechi's face went pale as ash. The villagers turned to her with expressions ranging from shock to disgust. The consequences came swiftly. Madzio Koye stood and delivered judgment in a voice that brooked no argument. "Mama Nkechi, and all who participated in these schemes, you are hereby warned by this community. You have brought shame upon yourselves and tarnished the meaning of family." The village elder continued, "You will return every bit of money taken from Adaeze. You will publicly apologize to Amara if she can be found, and to every person you have hurt. If you refuse, you will be ostracized from community activities until you make amends." It was the harshest social punishment possible in a village where community meant everything. Mama Nkechi, who had held her head high in pride moments before, now looked diminished and defeated. But then Chijioke did something unexpected. He knelt before Adaeze in front of everyone, tears streaming down his face. "Adaeze, I do not deserve your forgiveness. I was weak when I should have been strong. I chose temporary peace over your happiness. I let my fear of disappointing my family destroy the woman I love." The crowd was silent, moved by the raw emotion. "I am not asking you to take me back today or even tomorrow. I am asking for a chance to prove that I have finally learned to say no to manipulation and yes to love, to truth, to us. I am asking for time to become the man you deserve." Adaeze looked down at him, her own tears falling. She saw genuine change in his eyes, true remorse in his voice. The stone around her neck felt warm and peaceful, confirming his sincerity. Villagers watched, some wiping their own eyes, wondering what she would decide. 3 months passed after that dramatic meeting. The village watched as Chijioke proved his transformation through actions, not just words. He worked tirelessly to rebuild Adaese's business, using his own labor since he had no money left to give. He faced his family's anger and manipulation attempts with firm boundaries, saying no when he needed to say no. Mama Nkechi and Nkechi had been forced to repay what they could and had become quiet shadows of their former selves. Some villagers pitied them, others felt they deserved their fate. Asine had been found. She had fled to her aunt's village, terrified after discovering too much about the family's schemes. Now she had returned, grateful to see justice finally served. On a beautiful Sunday morning, Adaeze and Chijioke walked through the village together, hand in hand. They were not yet married, but they were rebuilding trust slowly, like craftsmen repairing precious pottery with gold, stronger in the broken places. Children played nearby, their laughter ringing like bells. An elderly couple smiled at them knowingly. The village had witnessed destruction and redemption, lies and truth, weakness and courage. Adaeze turned to face those listening to her story, her voice carrying the wisdom earned through pain and triumph. My children, I tell you this tale so you understand, love alone is not enough. Love without boundaries becomes sacrifice without end. Love without wisdom becomes suffering without purpose. Love without courage becomes prison instead of partnership. She touched the stone still hanging around her neck. Before you marry anyone, ask yourself, can this person say no when they need to? Can they protect what matters? Can they stand between you and harm, even if that harm comes from those they love? As the sun set over Adaeze, casting golden light across the village, Adaeze smiled. True love requires courage, the courage to disappoint others when protecting what is right, the courage to speak truth when lies are easier, the courage to build boundaries that preserve rather than divide. She took Chijioke's hand. This is what we learned. This is what I pray you learn before you give your heart away. May wisdom guide you as you choose who to love. May courage protect you when love is tested. And may your story end not in destruction, but in the kind of love that makes both people stronger, freer, and more truly themselves. The village listened, understood, and would remember. And somewhere in the distance, Mama Ugo smiled, knowing that another generation had learned the ancient truth: love and wisdom must walk together, or neither will survive the journey.